Thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. A wanted Thunder Bay man was arrested Friday with a replica firearm. Thunder Bay police officers were in the 500 block area of Donald Street East around 10:30 in the morning, where they observed a male accused wanted on an active warrant. Police apprehended the accused without incident, but learned after he was carrying a concealed pellet gun. The 26-year-old male was charged with multiple offenses, including possession of a firearm and failure to comply with a probation order. He appeared in bail court today and was remanded into custody with a future appearance date. Residents got the chance to celebrate science, technology, engineering, art, mathematics, and gaming this weekend with Quest, a tech and gaming event that featured science workshops, virtual reality, and even robots. Jess Clement has the story.
Robots, air rockets, and fire tornadoes were just some of the things kids and science enthusiasts were able to see at this year's tech and gaming event. For 2 days, the event schedule was jam-packed with various workshops and activities, including science shows at Science North, virtual reality gaming, and BattleBots. Community Program and Events Supervisor Louisa Costanzo says the event has a little something for everyone.
We've got Lakehead University here with some of the infrared cameras and a bunch of other stuff. Behind us we have one of our presenting sponsor, OPG, with their robot dogs. So there's just a ton of stuff happening here. I think, yeah, there's so much stuff. Too many things to mention. The education and what we're doing in schools, we're seeing leaning towards this, towards like the STEAM. And so this is an excellent opportunity to showcase what we have in our city, because our city is like very advanced technologically wise. So yeah, this is an opportunity to showcase that.
There were a number of interactive booths on site to give visitors a chance to learn more about the different STEAM fields. Attendees also got the chance to meet Spot, a robotic dog from Ontario Power Generation. The event got a big thumbs up from the children and adults in attendance, with some of the highlights including controlling Sphero robots.
I can use coding and make him a massager, kind of. I have to do Sphero EDU, and there's like block coding.
And learning how to control a video game with electricity and Play-Doh.
It basically works like a keyboard, but you need to hold one piece in your hand, and then you can touch the keys. If you touch them normally, it won't work. It needs to go from one end to another. So if you hold it and then touch it, then it'll work, because the electricity is going through your arm and through your other arm, making it work. But without it, the electricity signal doesn't work. It needs to be powered both ways.
Costanzo adds that it's important for kids to be introduced to different careers and opportunities.
I think exposing kids to different things and jobs and stuff like that, and different things that are happening in the world is a great way to learn. Kids have such a mind to understand things, and they really want to learn, so this is an opportunity to build on that for them.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
An event called Venture Thunder Bay was held this week as a way to connect entrepreneurs with potential angel investors. It was put on by the Northern Ontario Angels and the Northwestern Ontario Innovation Centre, with 3 entrepreneurs there to pitch their business ideas. The companies involved came from diverse backgrounds and included a business which manufactures efficient homes for remote communities, a group with an improved MRI machine, and a third company that was looking to make autonomous trailers for safer delivery. Ian Lane with the Northern Ontario Angels says this opportunity is huge for companies looking to grow their businesses.
You know, if you do it on yourself and this is the first time that you've done it, there's going to be pitfalls. It's never an A to B line, and so an angel will really guide you and impart some of that wisdom that they've experienced in their career. So yeah, it's a partnership, and I think the companies really benefit from it. And then the angels, of course, they're looking for returns on their investments, but many of our investors in Northern Ontario also want to invest in companies that are going to create jobs in the north for today's generations and future generations.
The Northern Ontario Angels are made up of a volunteer board from across the region. The MPP for Kiiwetinoong is raising concerns about doctor shortages in the north. Saul Mamakwa questioned Health Minister Sylvia Jones at Queen's Park this week about remote First Nations that rarely have a doctor on site, leaving nursing stations with only nurses to deal with serious health emergencies.
federal nurses have to reach out to on-call doctors by phone to provide a diagnosis. That's normal in the North. The doctor shortage leads to unnecessary suffering. Speaker, it leads to unnecessary deaths of patients in the far northern Ontario. I ask, how is this government going to immediately help the people of Northern Ontario, the suffering because of the doctor shortage?
Since 2018, Speaker, we have added an additional 1,800 physicians in the province of Ontario. We have put in place programs specifically for Northern Ontario to match emergency department with peer-to-peer ED doctors to make sure that they have access to peers who are there for them to be able to work through issues and problems as they appear before their emergency departments.
New Democratic MP Charlie Angus says the federal government isn't doing enough to address the housing crisis in Northern Ontario. This week in the House of Commons, he asked Indigenous Affairs Minister and Thunder Bay Superior North MP Patty Hajdu to commit to meeting with Indigenous and other Northern leaders to find a solution.
In Timmins, Thunder Bay, communities across Northern Ontario, the homeless crisis coupled with the toxic drug disaster has created a social catastrophe. In Timmins, funding for the groundbreaking Firekeepers proposal is running out, even though it is keeping Indigenous people alive on the streets. In Thunder Bay, the waiting list for housing is staggering. Social service boards and First Nations across the north are doing everything they can, and the question they ask is, where is the federal government? So will the Indigenous Service Minister commit to the Firekeepers and meet with Northern leaders to find a solution to the housing crisis?
First of all, let me just thank the member for his constant advocacy for the support and safety of Indigenous people in urban settings. And Mr. Speaker, this government has been a strong partner to provinces and territories to ensure that people, no matter where they live in Ontario, indeed across the country, have access to supports and services that are culturally appropriate. I will commit to the member that I will meet with the Firekeepers and we will look for a solution together. This must be a work that the province of Ontario and the federal government does together.
Sioux Lookout Council has approved the rezoning of a hotel property, paving the way for it to become a hostel under the ownership of the Sioux Lookout First Nations Health Authority. The Sioux Lookout Inn and Suites, located just off the highway at the south end of the town, is being purchased by Slifna, which plans to repurpose the building as temporary housing for visitors attending medical appointments. Mayor Doug Lawrence says the zoning amendment was the right decision for health equity and the hundreds of patients who travel to Sioux Lookout every day.
Right now, patients are forced to, Slifna is transporting patients to and from Dryden. They just don't have enough room in Sioux Lookout. So it was a pretty easy decision for council. Serving the First Nations or First Nations people forms 70% or more of the economic activity in Sioux Lookout. Slifna is a big part of that. They're actually the largest employer in the municipality.
Although Sioux Lookout is already facing a shortage of hotel rooms, Lawrence doesn't feel the change will make much difference to hotel occupancy, saying patients at the hostel would generally have been housed in hotel rooms anyway. The hostel will be the third operated by Slifna in the town. Two local students are celebrating after coming in first place in their respective categories at this year's Enter the Den contest. The event saw students pitch their business plans to a cohort of local entrepreneurs who then offered feedback and judged the entries to decide who would take home the top prize. Carl Langdon has more.
6 local students are celebrating after having won cash prizes from this year's Enter the Den event. Modeled after the popular TV show Dragon's Den, preliminary finalists pitched their business plans to a cohort of local entrepreneurs, who then offered feedback and selected the top 3 presentations in each category. The final presentation of the morning saw the introduction of first-place contestant Owen Lemoyne's business, an ad agency named Breakaway Films. Lemoyne, a grade 8 student at Valley Central, for his entry, he decided to channel his love for making short films.
This is my Instagram account. This is some of my posts.
Having produced a commercial for a local barbershop, Lemoyne was able to leverage his contest entry to help secure a summer internship with a studio here in Thunder Bay.
So it's a commercial company where basically we go to small businesses in Thunder Bay and we shoot commercials for them. and were for lower prices than the normal film commercial companies. I've always really loved making commercials. Well, not necessarily commercials, but short films and like cameras and stuff. So I thought, and we got the Enter the Den slip at my school, so I said, why not?
The two categories split the students into age groups, and the afternoon saw local high school students pitching their plans. First place participants in both categories each walked away with checks for $1,000. Second place received $500, and $250 was awarded to both students who placed third. Carl Langdon, TBT News.
We're now joined by sports anchor Mike Lang. There was a pair of NHL playoff games last night, but the one everyone was watching and hopefully wishing for a win was the Toronto Maple Leafs, but that's all I can say.
Of course, it was not a good night for Leaf fans or Oilers fans. Mitch, will have those stories coming right up.